This is a rereading of LazyTown, written by Magnus Gavin, 1996, 1995. The poor sun tried to hide behind the clouds so she wouldn't have to send her beams down to the rooftops of a town between the high mountains not very far from here. The situation was so bad, not even the clouds in the sky waited around to get away first. When you looked closely, there was not much life to be seen in this town. In fact, there were no signs of life at all. All the streets were deserted, with no kids playing or adults going about their lives. The playground was empty, and spiders had spun webs on the swings and the slide, and over almost all of the play equipment. It could clearly be seen that they had not been used in a long time. The gym was in ruins, and no one had set foot there in a long, long time. You may be wondering how it happened that this town became so dull. Doesn't anyone live in this town? However, it isn't the case that there are no residents, but all of the townspeople are either lazy, tired, or have no idea what they should do. It's no wonder that you don't see any kids playing around at all in this town. They have long forgotten all the games and can't even play hopscotch. They can't play Olsen Olsen at all, let alone run in a big fish game. They are inside all day, staring at videos or video games, and have long forgotten how to play outside. There are even many kids who don't even bother to go to school. Therefore, they know nothing. They can't do maths, nor write, nor even draw. Imagine that. The only things they can do are eat sweets and sit and play video games. I don't remember what this town's name is. Once it had a very beautiful name, but that was many years ago. Now it's called LazyTown, which is not a particularly beautiful name. Imagine living in LazyTown. If the townspeople had to move, they all traveled by car. It goes without saying that the pollution and smoke from all the cars had become so thick that sometimes you couldn't see between houses. The kids all nag their parents if they have to go somewhere. It never occurs to them to walk or go anywhere themselves unless they're driven. Well, as you can see, this town is no ordinary town. The problem is simply that everyone is so very lazy. I say everyone, but that's still not quite right. There is actually one person who is not at all so lazy. That's the town's mayor. He is really the only one who bothers to exercise. The poor mayor was very disappointed with the behavior of the townspeople. He had once been an athlete. When he was younger, he had run marathons, competed in shot put, and was pretty decent at football. As he got older, he had so much to do that he had gradually stopped being active. That is the risk for those who have a lot to do. They often forget to think of their health. The mayor had watched the residents become lazier and lazier with each year. He didn't like the look of it when the kids stopped being able to play. There was also a candy boy living there. He was called Ziggy Sweets because he ate so many sweets. Ziggy Sweets ate neither more nor less than 70 caramels a day and had once eaten 40 Easter eggs. Yes, Ziggy Sweets did nothing else all day but buy candy. He also had candy sent to his home from the convenience store because he couldn't be bothered to walk to the shop. Then there was Jives. He was so thin that his socks didn't stay up. They slid down his legs. He was always trying to pull them up higher, but they always slid down again. In fact, Jives did not eat much food. He didn't want meat, and he didn't eat skyr, so it was no wonder the socks slipped down his skinny legs. Then, naturally, there was Trixie. He was always pranking everyone. He screamed down from the balcony at his home so that it rang through the neighborhood. He called kids names and would kick or pull the hair of the kids who walked past his apartment block. Trixie had a slingshot and he was usually up on the balcony with it shooting rock hard beans that his mother had and wasn't going to use. Trixie shot like a madman at everyone he could. Chapter 2. The Letter. One morning, the mayor received a letter. Of course, he did not get the letter through his mail slot, as we do. He had to get it himself from the post office. When he opened the letter, he saw that it was from the president. The president had decided that everyone in the country, in every town, city, and village, should hold a sports festival. This festival should take place after a week. The poor mayor knew that nobody in his town cared to participate in the sports tournament. That's where the difficulty was. What should he do? He thought of ways to reach the townspeople. Perhaps it would be best to go and knock on the door and talk to the oldest. Maybe it would be worthwhile to meet up with Stina the busybody, who knew everyone in town. She could tell them about the festival and spread the news to the townspeople who might come. The mayor considered various ideas about how he could get the townspeople to participate in the sports festival. Immediately after noon, he decided to set off and walk house to house. He hoped that the townspeople would welcome him and agree to take part in the festival. The mayor walked down the hill, and the first house he came to was the house of Gusty Gambling. He knocked on the door, and Gusty came out and said angrily, "Why are you knocking at me? I'm watching the news." The mayor replied, "I was wondering whether or not you were interested in working at a sports festival." "Sports festival? Oh no," snapped Gusty Gambling. "Tonight I plan to watch the news, and then I'm going to watch more TV for longer and longer, until I fall asleep like I do every night." The mayor said, "Yes, but don't you want to compete in the sports festival? Don't you want to see the town come to life and teach the kids some games?" "Teach kids games?" "No. In the old days, I knew many games, but now the kids don't want to learn any games. They only want to hang around inside and watch TV, so I'm going to do that too." Gusty Gamley turned around and slammed the door right on the mayor's nose. The poor mayor stood alone on the steps and walked away disappointed. In LazyTown, even the dogs were so lazy that they barked at neither cars nor strangers. When the mayor walked into the next yard, the watchdog was half asleep and didn't even bother to pick up its ears when he walked past. In this town lived the biggest busybody in town. She went under the name of Bessie Busybody. As I told you before, the mayor knew that she knew everyone and could advertise the festival for him, as she was constantly blabbering on the phone. Bessie Busybody was strange. When somebody talked to her, she then blabbed everything onto the next person, of course over the phone. She was always on the phone to deceive and talk badly about others. As soon as every guest who came to visit her was gone, she called someone and started to gab. So it went day in and day out. The mayor hardly dared go up to her house. He knocked on the door and heard her call, "I'm on the phone. I'll come out in a moment." She was so curious and afraid of missing someone that she was soon out the window to see who had come. Then she opened the door and stood there with a cigarette in her mouth and blew smoke right in the poor mayor's face. As you no doubt know, smoking is extremely unhealthy. He coughed and waved his hands to get the smoke away from his face. "Dear Madame, a big sports festival is being held here in town. For that reason, I want you to call all your friends and invite them to participate in the sports festival. Otherwise, I'll never know if they're interested in it." The mayor blushed when she glared at him. He went on, "You see," he stammered, because you talk with so many that you surely know a lot of people. You could maybe get the word out and then everyone could take part in the festival." Of course the mayor knew that Stino Of course, the mayor knew that Bessie was the biggest busybody in town and had to say this. "Why would I do something like take part in some sports festival? Besides, I never talk to anyone," said Bessie, upset. She stormed in and slammed the door right on the mayor's nose. The mayor sat sadly on the steps and wasn't far off from having tears come to his eyes. What could he do to get the townspeople to take part in the sports festival that he was obligated to hold? You remember now that the president had said in the letter, which meant that everyone in the country take part in the sports festival. We can't let the town be known for not taking part in these festivals, he thought. Gusty Gamley didn't help, neither did Bessie Busybody. What about the young people? But the young people had become so sluggish that they couldn't even walk to the store let alone hold their own school bag. They had become so tired that some had to nap 4 or 5 times a day. The mayor knew that the fight was hopeless, and no one would help him. As he sat there on the steps, he heard Bessie busybody in the house. She picked up the phone and called her friend. "Do you know who was here?" she said. "Now you think, yes, I'll say it over and over again. Oh Lord, you know what? To think that the blessed mayor hasn't come here. Yes, he came walking, imagine that," she said, scandalized. "He was on his knees here on the steps, and actually begged me to save him. Yes, that's what I'm saying. He asked me to save him." The mayor heard this and naturally knew right away that she was calling someone to complain. She continued, "Yes, and you know, he's planning to hold some festival, some sports festival. I can only say that, although now, although I don't usually talk badly about people, I just don't understand why he's trying to struggle with this now. What does he actually think he is? I just think he's not the person to handle this. I don't think he can do this at all. No, he is no person for this." After listening to the chattering of the old woman for a good moment, the mayor stood up and walked down the gate. The dog lying in the yard did not even bother to open his eyes when he walked past.